What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Magic Leo, and today I'm going to teach you how to make real Bolognese sauce for your pasta. If you don't know, Bolognese sauce, the very popular pasta sauce that comes from Bologna, Italy. And since it's very popular, it's important that you learn how to make it right.
All right. Gotta listen in.
Oh, no. I can't cook special like Benny.
Shut up, man. Forget about it. Wherever you go, the best cooks are men. On Mars, the best cooks are gonna be men. That's a fact. Oh, Donnie. Wait till you taste this cocoa, man. It'll melt in your mouth like Holy Communion. What the fuck is it? Annette, get that.
Now, I'm gonna begin by showing you how to do the prep work. Then from there, we're gonna make the sauce. And then from there, we're gonna make the pasta. Let's do it. So you're gonna need some olive oil. Any olive oil would do. You're gonna need some salt and pepper. And you're gonna need some ground beef and ground pork. 1.5 pounds of ground beef and 1 pound of ground pork. Now, some people would tell you that you have to use ground veal. In my opinion, that's a waste because veal is just baby cow. You don't need that. But ground beef and ground pork, simple. Also, you're gonna need 1 small can of tomato paste and 2 jars of tomato sauce. On my channel, I try to make it easy for men to cook, so you could use any 2 jars of tomato sauce. The way I'm making it here is with San Marzano tomatoes that I got from my mother's garden. And I took those tomatoes and put them into a blender, right? So that I could make 2 jars with the measurements that I showed you. And then I took about 4 or 5 San Marzano tomatoes and, cut them up and mashed them a little bit. I didn't peel them, but I put those to the side so that I could throw it into the sauce as it cooked. This should be simple for you. You don't need fresh tomatoes. You don't need that if you're a man. If you have 2 jars of tomato sauce, it's good. The jars of tomato sauce that I would prefer for you is these jars of tomato sauce that you see right here. They're kind of expensive, but any 2 jars would do. You're also gonna need 3 celery sticks and 3 carrots. You gotta take that, you gotta chop it up. The way that I make it, I don't like the carrots thick and I don't like the celery sticks thick in terms of chopping it up. That's up to you. So you gotta chop that up. You want that fresh. Chop it up. That's gonna make your, what we would call Sofrito or part of your Sofrito. But we'll get back into that as we continue. You're also gonna need 1 big onion, any color. So take that big onion, chop it up however you like it, and that's gonna complete your Sofrito. The carrots, the celery, and the onions, that makes your Sofrito right there. Let's move along. You're also gonna need 1 cup of wine. Some people prefer white wine. How we're doing it here is with red wine. It's up to you. Doesn't matter. The wine that I'm using here is Mayomi. It's a red wine. Whatever wine you prefer, it doesn't matter. Just get 1 cup of wine. That's all. Simple. But the reason why Mayomi is a good red wine is because it's good. And 2, it has a twist off cap. So you don't have to go through using a wine bottle opener. So keep that in mind. Now the last thing you're gonna need for your Bolognese sauce is 1 cup of milk. Now that we're done with our prep work, we're gonna start making the sauce. So to start off with, if possible, use a tall, wide pot. You can just use a big pot. Whatever works for you. But get yourself a big pot, pour some olive oil in there, and we're gonna start making the sofrito. Make sure that you put the stove on a medium flame to start off with. Medium flame is good. So now that the olive oil was in the pan, you throw your onions in there, let it simmer up. Put the onions first before you put the celery and the carrots, because the onions cook faster. So let the onions brown a little bit. That's what you're looking for. Let the onions brown. Now, once the onions are brown a little bit, now you throw in the carrots and the celery. Throw that in there. Stir it up. Let it go. So once you throw that in there, let that go for about 5 minutes. About 5 minutes, 6 minutes, you're good. Just pay attention to the time. Have love and have care when you make it. 5 or 6 minutes. Stir it up. So now that's your sofrito is good. Let's get to the next step. At this point, you're gonna add some wine to the sofrito. Take that cup of wine that you have and put a 1/2 cup. Just a 1/2 cup. Nice. Stir it in. Let that simmer up. Let it cook. At this point, you're gonna add your meat to the sofrito. Now, keep the flame on medium. Keep it on medium. Let's add the meat. So now with the meat, what you want to do is just cook it until the meat starts to brown. That's it. Stir it up. Watch over it. It's going to take a few minutes. Wait until it browns. Once it browns and you see like the meat is a little bit cooked, then you move to the next step. At this point, once your meat is brown, you're going to add the other 1/2 cup of wine to the meat. So let's do that. So now, as you pour the wine in there. Nice. You stir it up, watch over it. That's it. And let the meat continue to cook a little bit more. Let the meat absorb the wine for a couple of more minutes. And then you move on to the next step. It's not that hard. So for our next step, we're gonna add the sauce. Now, at this point, switch the flame to a low flame. Switch it to a low flame, and then add the sauce to the pot. So now that the sauce is in there, you let that go. In this case, how I made it, like I said, I had the San Marzano, like tomatoes chopped up, a few, a couple or more of them. And I added them in there. You good. You let it go. It's in there. It's beautiful. Oh yeah. Don't forget to add your salt and pepper and to taste test the sauce periodically. Just taste test it occasionally to make sure that you have enough salt and pepper in there. Now you put the top onto the pot and you gotta let this go for about 4 hours. Let the sauce cook for 4 hours. Stir it periodically. Don't just leave away. Pay attention to it, but let it go for about 4 hours. Watch how it comes out. So once you have the sauce going up to that 4 hour point, leave the stove on, leave the sauce going, and it's time to make your pasta. Leave the sauce on because there's one more step, but in the meantime, you start with your pasta. Now, I can't tell you how to make your pasta, but I'll say that even though in America, a lot of people like spaghetti with their Bolognese sauce, I don't. I prefer something thick, ziti, rigatoni. So here, I'm making rigatoni. I'm gonna show you how I make my pasta. I typically make my pasta the same way every time. You don't have to make it the way I make it, but we're gonna do that. So how I make my pasta is I have some garlic chopped up on the side, and I use a little bit of Italian seasoning. You should have it in your season rack. So you get, like with the pasta, again, I can't tell you what pasta to use. I typically use Barilla. It's not the best, but it's a pasta brand that you can find in most supermarkets. Anyway, so we're gonna start making the pasta. Let's do it. Okay, so once your pasta is done, which will take you about 7-8 minutes to get it al dente, you're gonna strain it, of course, put it back in the pot, and take a little frying pan, put a little bit of olive oil in there, cut the stove on a low flame. Let the olive oil heat up. Don't put the flame too high at all. Put it low. Then when the olive oil is hot, you're gonna put your garlic in there and a little bit of Italian seasoning, not too much, and you stir that up. If the flame is too high, you're gonna burn your garlic and you're gonna ruin it. So after you make the oil with the garlic and the Italian seasoning, you take that. Once it's done, it's real quick. You take that, you pour it onto your pasta and you stir it in, and your pasta's done. So now that the pasta is done, we're going to perform the last step in making the Bolognese sauce. So as the Bolognese sauce is still going on a low flame, you're simply gonna take a cup of milk, which I mentioned earlier, a whole cup of milk. Doesn't have to be fancy milk or nothing like that. It's just a cup of milk. And pour that into the Bolognese sauce, stir it in, and let that continue to cook for 5 minutes or so is good. Cut the stove off, and your Bolognese sauce is complete. It's delicious, I could guarantee you that. For some people that are like Italian American and prefer a thick, like more sauce than meat, you can add more sauce if you want. It's up to you, but what I made here is real Bolognese sauce as they make it in Italy. It's pretty good. Stop with the chicken parmesan. That's good too, but it's watered down. You gotta learn how to make some real Italian food. There's no excuses. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found it useful. Time to eat.